The goal and the mission that I said at the beginning was to help relieve people's stress. It was to do that, and I felt like our hands were tied, and it was unbelievable because it was like, I'm here and I'm in this city and coronavirus has just shut down everything. And we were sitting there saying, what's gonna happen? How are we gonna do this? And how are we gonna keep surviving and thriving? So we're here right now amidst a pandemic, and the world is more full of stress than ever. I got into this work. Cedar and Stone, we started it with the sole goal of helping people relieve stress. And we're doing that through this centuries-old practice of sauna, as my family's always pronounced that. Maybe sauna to you, that's okay, either way. But here's what we're gonna do is we're gonna get you the best quality experience of that thing. My family and folks who immigrated over and folks from Scandinavia, they kind of had that cultural treasure of sauna with them when they immigrated over here 100 years ago. And I just felt this calling, this passion, this desire to help people relieve stress in the best way that I knew how. And that was the practice of sauna, not just the hot room in the back of the gym that you can barely breathe in sometimes and it's sort of musty. Really high quality sauna that for me, I've grown up with and I've built. In almost every home we lived in, we'd build a sauna. And early on, I was just this little boy. I was about 3. And I remember installing the first sauna in my dad's basement. And it was like the smell of cedar wood locked that memory in my mind. And so just along the way, this has always been a part of my life. And the thing that we want to do here is really tell the story, not just of me, not just of this company, but of how people's lives are being changed and transformed through this one wellness practice. And we're going to dive into both our company and how we build them. We're going to dive into the people's lives that we kind of interview and talk through and talk with about how sauna is impacting them. We're going to talk about the science and the wellness benefits. I mean, what's crazy is all the stories that Grandma and Grandpa always told me about sauna being so great for our health and good for, if you get a cold, go in there and take the sauna. Now the science is coming and backing it up. The Mayo Clinic, other studies again and again and again are looking at this wellness practice saying, hey, when we heat up our bodies, when we cool down our bodies, when we walk through these practices in a really healthy way, they're good for us. And I think, and we'll probably dive into this a bunch more, but I think in the next 10 years, we're gonna be watching doctors prescribe sauna just like they do eat healthy, exercise, and take a few saunas a week. And that's such good news, not just for us as a sauna business, but I think for our society, for our culture. It is a space of rest. It is a space of community. It's a space of health. And I think we need more spaces like that. And so our story here actually doesn't begin in this beautiful building, though I want to tell you about that. Our story begins in Finland. 100 years ago, these practices of Finland, my family came over. And I always loved that. And then 10 years ago, my wife and I went to Finland. And when we were there, we went to all these different community saunas and public saunas. And one of them was on a raft on the Baltic. It was unbelievable. We got there and we got to this rowboat. And a Finnish man rowed us out and left us on this raft to sauna and swim and sauna and swim. It was magical. And that day, 10 years ago, I told my wife, hey, if there's a city in the US that can do this, it's Duluth, Minnesota. It's the city that we were about to move back to. And for the last decade, I've sat with that vision, that seed of an idea in my mind. Now, since then, we built a company around it. And that company began with this community sauna right on the shores of Lake Superior, right over there. And we opened it up and people were coming. It was the middle of winter and it was in Duluth, Minnesota. And if anybody from not in the area knows a little bit about Duluth, they probably know that it's cold here a lot of the time. And that is one great fact about Duluth, of course, but it's also this beautiful entrepreneurial city built on one of my favorite lakes in the world, Lake Superior. And it's full of arts and culture and just energy. And so we moved back and we got here and we found this sort of city that we rediscovered. We grew up in the area and then we rediscovered it. It was like, oh my gosh, we get to live here. And we get to live here now. And fast forward a little bit, we opened this business. We built this beautiful community sauna that people come in just like you would a massage or a spa, and you buy a session. And in the heart of winter, that was great. In the late stages of winter, that was even better. And then spring hit. In spring of 2020, our world got flipped upside down. And we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were going to make it. We had to shut down the community sauna for 4 months. In that time, I knew that people would, as they saw that experiences, they tasted the experiences, they started to experience really high quality sauna, and as they began to see how beautiful it was, not this little dark box, not this little musty thing in the back of their gym, when they saw how beautiful we had created it and built it, they would say, do you build these? Do you make them? I have a cabin, I got a backyard, I'm learning to love this thing, or I've always loved this thing. And we would always say yes, but we didn't know if anybody was going to ever take us up on it. We knew as a part of the business that would be a part of it at some point. In the pandemic, it just accelerated. It shifted our gears into this moment of saying, well, we can't provide the thing that we're trying to do. The goal and the mission that I said at the beginning was to help relieve people's stress. It was to do that, and I felt like our hands were tied, and it was unbelievable because it was like, I'm here and I'm in this city and coronavirus has just shut down everything. And we were in the tourist section and we watched every restaurant just lay off all their staff. We watched every hotel have to cut back their staff. And it was a ghost town in the time when it was supposed to be coming alive. And we were sitting there saying, what's going to happen? How are we going to do this? And how are we going to keep surviving and thriving? And we had a few folks say, I love what you're doing. I want it at my house. I want it in my backyard. I want you to bring it to the cabin. I want you to take it down to the Twin Cities for me. And so we began building. And over month after month, we built and built and built and built. And it began to feel like just this sense of gratefulness in me. And I was like, I felt a calling to do this thing. I felt really a desire to be in this city and serve the city and help it flourish and help get rid of the stress that we were all carrying. And we weren't able to do it for all the people anymore, but we were able to do it for a few folks. We were able to give them that thing that they could use every single day, every single week. And now, a handful of months later, we're here in our new space. And we had an opportunity to work with a few companies and to grow out of building these in the backyard and the driveway of Joel, our good friend, our head of fabrication.
Hi. I'm Joel.
We had the chance to say, hey, let's invest and let's take a chance, but let's take a guided, kind of a good chance to say, hey, let's build this company right. And now we're here in our new building. This is right in West Duluth, the heart of Duluth, like looking over the city. You see the bay, the St. Louis River. Again, it's like, it's coming up in me, the emotion of gratefulness of like, we get to be here now and we get to serve people now. We get to serve people and provide them this thing that my family's always known. My family's always put time into investing in thousands of dollars to have a good quality sauna experience in our home and accessible. And what we're doing is we're trying to get that to more people. My hope to sort of say this in terms of the channel isn't to say, hey, look what we're doing. It's rather to say, hey, there's a story being told here amidst a crazy pandemic about this wellness experience of sauna, that it's happening and people are discovering it. People are continuing to discover it, even when the gyms closed, even when the YMCA is closed, even when the places where you usually go to are closed. We are finding ways to get them to people. And luckily, after 4 months of being shut down, we were actually able to open our community sauna in Canal Park. We totally flipped the business model from these community spaces to private sessions, and we were small enough, unlike the gym, that we're going to sanitize the whole space top to bottom between each group of people coming in there. And it's been safe, and it's been providing people this respite that we were hoping for the whole time. We are giving people the chance to experience the thing of, hey, the weight is on your shoulders this week, no matter what it is. Come visit us, let us melt away the stress. Let's teach you about this wellness practice that you maybe only know a little bit about. And I'd like to do that here on this channel with you. So we're going to be continuing to communicate with you about that. We're going to talk about how we build these beautiful spaces. We're going to talk about the value of, if you have a sauna in your house, if you have a sauna at the gym, of how to use that to the most, to get the most wellness benefits from it, and to tell the story of our community, to tell the story of these people that are discovering and their lives are being transformed by this experience. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're thinking of us. I can't wait to see you on the next one. All right.